This is True Crime Tradies. Listener discretion is advised. Pussies.
And welcome back to True Crime Tradies. I'm JB, and always I have my partner in crime with me, Chris. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad. We're actually recording on a scorching hot day today. It's like 45 degrees in Melbourne, probably the worst day to be outside, being a chippy, but we have thought, no, fuck working today. We are going to be doing the next episode. So we are back and doing something, I don't know, a little bit less creepy this week, a bit of a palate cleanser.
Yeah, we
maybe.
definitely needed it after last week.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy the last episode. So, and I actually publicly need to apologise. I feel like I need to because I swore a lot in the last episode. Listening back, I'm like, man, I was angry. I think we both were.
It was warranted though.
Yeah, I felt like it was warranted. It just like maybe I could hold back a little bit, but you know what? I'm apologising for the people that are offended, but I'm not going to stop being me. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, which I might swear and be inappropriate at times, and as you will be. But look, we're going to go straight into it. We're not going to waffle on too much. We've got another big case to look into. There's a lot of twists and turns, so we'll start with the preview.
Do you want anything to drink?
No, thank you. I want this over with as quickly as possible. Start.
There is a murder mystery to report to you tonight. The victim, an elusive billionaire banker. It raises a whole lot of questions like who wanted him dead and why.
Edmond Safra.
Edmond Safra.
Edmond Safra.
Is unfolding at the favorite playground of the rich and famous, Monaco.
Monaco. Oh, God.
Monaco's less than a square mile.
It's a sunny place for shady people.
It's one of the safest countries.
With surveillance in almost every corner of the principality, how could one of the richest men in the world be killed in one of the securest countries in the world?
Who had any benefits for that?
The only evidence of intruders comes from the male nurse.
Am I a liar? No, absolutely not. The evidence clearly shows that I'm not.
It's not true. I'm convinced that Dad did it. He had a Jekyll and Hyde personality.
In your mind, who killed Edmond Safra?
The Russians.
Safra ratted out the Russian mafia to the FBI.
He's given this evidence to the FBI, and he's a marked man.
He was a billionaire, the head of an international empire, and he had enemies.
I'm feeling closer to my husband than ever.
Some people believe this was murder by Lily Safra. She was a praying mantis.
People had this view of her as a dangerous woman. She inherits $4.8 billion.
Poor darling.
There are over 100 police officers looking for me.
Who comes in, what went on?
This is like an ongoing drama with this guy.
I am not going to jail for something I didn't do.
Wow. Billionaire, Black Widow, wife, murder in Monaco. There could be no better murder mystery than Edmond Safra's.
Actually, I'm not doing this. This is at an end. Unbelievable.
All right, so we start the doco by meeting Isabel Vincent. And she's an investigative reporter, and she covered the case quite extensively for the New York Post. And she did a huge deep dive into this case. She stepped on a lot of people's toes doing it. She does not give two shits about it.
She does. She actually mentions how she's been sued on multiple occasions, and she's keeping the law firm in business just by how she operates and how she reports.
Yeah, she's smirking. She loves it.
Oh, she does. She's a real feisty little, I don't know. She reminded me of Sigourney Weaver, actually.
Oh, yeah.
She's just had that Sigourney Weaver vibe about her. But yeah, just that real tenacious type of reporter. So I really rated her right from the get-go.
Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Isabel Vincent. I'm an investigative reporter at the New York Post. I spent years trying to figure out the truth about the death of Edmond Safra. It was just such a mystery that was never fully explained.
All right, so we find out about the night of the crime and how it's all reported that these masked intruders had broken into the Monaco penthouse and they're trying to kidnap or kill Edmond. And Edmond and his nurse, they lock themselves into the panic room of the penthouse. And these intruders, they're unable to penetrate the panic room, so they set the penthouse on fire. Emergency service burst into the penthouse, managed to break into the panic room, and they find Edmond Safra seated in a red armchair with his nurse Vivian laying at his feet, both deceased. So people are obviously wondering who could have done this and what are their possible motives. And this is where we find a little bit more about Edmond Safra and who possibly could have murdered him.
How do they die like that? Who comes in? What went on? If you're looking at money as a motive, it makes sense that Edmond Safra would be a target.
Lebanese born from a wealthy Jewish banking family. Forbes magazine calls him one of the world's 200 richest men.
They had these crazy expensive properties all over the world.
Mystery has always surrounded Safra and his business dealings. His specialty, private banking for extremely wealthy clients.
He had many high-powered clients, Hollywood actors, politicians, even the royal family of Monaco.
Yeah, they really just jump straight into it. What are these people? What's happening? How has this fire started? We don't even know who Edmond is. As soon as I saw him, he reminded me of Mikhail Gorbachev.
With the bird shit on the forehead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Russian dictator. Just like, this guy looks exactly. Is that who we're dealing with here? But no, just straight away, like you find out about this guy. No one seems to know much about him. All they seem to know is he's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's showing scenes of the smouldering armchair, and it's like, oh my god, we're right into this already. So we find out, obviously, this is the case of the murdered billionaire Edmond Safra, and you don't really hear anything about the nurse that was killed as well. So all we hear basically is her name was Vivian, is it Torrentes?
Something like that. Actually, that's one of the things I'm really going to enjoy with this episode is you attempting to just pronounce people's names. I'm glad this isn't my episode because I'm really like, I had a hard time with Mikhail Gorbachev. I don't know how you're going to go with some of these names. I'm like, oh God, I'm just going to let you fall on the sword.
Just gonna wing it and just see what comes out. So, but yeah, as I said, we don't hear much about the nurse, and that's basically because she's not rich, and it's in Monaco, and people in Monaco don't care about poor people. So.
No, they don't. And I will go into a bit of Vivian's life a bit later. I think we'll get through it, and we can just sort of give a bit of a breakdown about who Vivian was and what we could actually find about her.
Yeah, we find out about Edmond Safra, obviously, and he's one of the world's richest bankers, and this guy is worth absolute billions.
Yet no one seems to know how he's worth billions of dollars.
We meet a couple of shady characters through the rest of the documentary, and then you start to piece little bits together yourself. They obviously don't want to say too much because I think they're a little bit nervous about it as well. But we also meet a lady named Lady Colin Campbell. And she's an absolute superstar of this documentary. I love her so much. She's got absolute main character vibes going on, whether she wants it or not. But I'm here for it. She's awesome.
I think she actually does want it. She reminded me of the Little Britain character where he's dressing up like a lady and the way she talks. I'm a lady, don't you know? I do lady things. Transgendery a little bit.
Well, let's hear from Lady Campbell now and see how much of a trans she sounds.
Lady C, thank you so much for doing this. Seriously, I really, really appreciate you. Do you want anything to drink?
No, thank you. I want this over with as quickly as possible. Start.
All right.
Okay.
Could you introduce yourself to us?
No.
She's a crack up. I just love it.
So because Lady Colin Campbell doesn't want to introduce herself, we've got to go back to Isabel, the investigative reporter, to get a bit of a rundown on her.
Who is Lady Colin Campbell?
So Lady Colin Campbell is an aristocrat, and she is like this larger-than-life character and a very good writer. Did you go to the castle?
We went to the castle.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to go back to Lady Campbell, and this is where she's going to give the documentary makers 1 hour and not a second over.
I love her.
Actually, I'm not doing this. This is at an end. Unfucking believable. You have an hour. Not a second over.
She gives the impression that she doesn't want to be on camera, but I went to IMDb and looked her up. Do yourself a favour and look her up on IMDb because her photo says everything you need to know about her. But she has 57 credits to her name.
Is that right?
So she's been out and about. She knows all about the industry. But maybe she thinks she's a lot more important than she actually is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we find out that Lady Campbell, she's an author and she's been writing a book based on Lily Safra. And Lily is Edmond's wife.
I started writing this book called Empress Bianca, which was based on the life of Lily Safra. And once word got out that I was writing the book, Joseph Safra, one of Edmond's brothers, got in touch with me.
He tells Lady Campbell that they didn't think Lily was a suitable partner for their brother Edmond. Safras, they're always a really well-respected family, came from a lot of money, and Lily, she was just a nobody. Her main goal in life was to be a leading socialite. So basically, she just wanted to be a super-duper rich trophy wife.
Well, I actually had her in my notes down as the OG Paris Hilton.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, actually. Yeah.
That's
You're like
her.
a 75-year-old Paris Hilton, if you can imagine that.
Just snorting coke and attending parties.
Yeah, that's it. Doing what she does best. We find out that Edmond, he develops Parkinson's, and Lily has to look after him a lot more now, and she doesn't really like that. She just wants to be hanging out with her mates, socialising, just, chilling with all the other stuck-up bitches around town.
But because Edmond became very infirm, because he had Parkinson's, she had to look after Edmond, and it hampered her movements.
Edmond was on a ton of medication. Some of that medication made him paranoid about people coming after him. So he was surrounded by bodyguards and nurses.
All right, cool, let's do it. Let's go. We got Ted working on it.
Ted Maher goes for an interview. He was a Green Beret, and he was also a nurse. So he was a good candidate.
Okay, so now we've obviously met Ted Maher, and he's going to be a huge part in this story. He applied to be one of the nurses for Edmond to help along with his Parkinson's and everything like that. And Ted has a background in special forces, so he claims he was in the Green Beret. So it's a no-brainer for them to hire this guy. So they're going to get a nurse, they're going to get a private bodyguard. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's just like they're hiring G.I. Joe, basically.
Yeah, exactly. G.I. Joe with some Band-Aids. He's the perfect guy. So we hear from Ted, and he goes on about how he met the Safrans and how he ended up getting this elusive job.
Let's rewind. Let's go all the way back in time. How did you get the job?
Oh, my gosh. I was a neonatal nurse in New York City. My wife, Heidi, worked in the hospital with me.
He was just so loving, so caring.
We had 3 children, one from a previous marriage.
He loved kids. Even mowing the lawn, he'd always have a kid around him.
We found out that the hospital's going to be going on strike, and Heidi and I are going to potentially losing our jobs. On a nurse's salary, it is already very, very hard just to try to pay for everything, the mortgage and everything. So at the time, I was taking care of a set of twins, and the parents were in the business of catering to the rich.
Ted and his wife Heidi, they're a little bit strapped for cash, and then this huge opportunity pops up, and then Ted just sees dollar signs, and also a chance to ditch the kids and the wife and head off to Monaco for a while. So,
can you blame him?
It does look amazing. So he meets with the psychiatrist over there who works for the Safra family, and he pretty much just has like an initial interview. They clear him. He says, just want to make sure I wasn't a psycho. Or
basically looked like he went there for tea and scones.
Yeah.
That's the way they portray it in the documentary. It's just like this real informal meetup. And then I guess it was just to make sure he wasn't a psycho, like you mentioned, but they showed those ink block tests type of thing, where you got to look at the ink and then you got to say, oh, I think it's this or I think it's that. And that's the way they determine whether this guy's a psychopath or not. I think they fucked up, to be honest.
Yeah, big time. Did you remember seeing the ink block test? Did you see anything in those photos when they showed them?
I actually didn't look that closely, to be fair. Why? What did you see?
One of them looked like a squished woman. I thought, oh, hang on, maybe I'm a psycho.
It adds up.
So the producer then asked Ted what he thinks of Monaco and his time there.
What's Monaco like?
Monaco. Oh, God. All the stuff you see on the James Bond films, the glamour, the richness, casino. The richest people in the world are there.
Yeah, so Monaco seems unbelievable. It seems like a type of place you really wouldn't want to visit, only because you just feel like a bit of a fish out of water. Like, if you're walking down the street and people just turning their nose up to you and calling the police going, oh, they don't belong here, that type of deal.
Yeah, it's very obvious you and I are not millionaires. So
no,
we
we're
would not fit in at all.
Unless you've got a Maserati, a Ferrari, Lamborghini, you do not belong there. Don't even bother. But the interesting about Monaco is, and I didn't know that, they mentioned a few facts in the documentary about it being less than a square mile around, which is quite small.
Yeah,
and
tiny.
Monaco is actually a tax-free country and has more millionaires in a single square mile than anywhere else on the planet, which is incredible. They also talk about it being the safest place on earth as well. I mean, these billionaires go there to not only evade tax, they also just to feel safe, and the crime rates are very low. And interestingly enough, Monaco have one police officer for every 60 people. It's hard to sort of understand watching the doco initially. Like, you must think, okay, is that good? Is that bad? I did a bit of research and looked up in the USA alone, one police officer for every 450 to 500 people. So it's like about 9 times the amount of people per police officer in the United States alone. So
That's
you can
crazy.
sort of feel why they feel very comfortable there. I can only imagine it's probably a bit like Auckland, where there's a CCTV everywhere as well. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do mention the CCTV footage there, just saying it's pretty much covering every inch. So we head on back to Ted. He's soon becoming the main person in this doco, and he discusses what it's like working in Monaco.
Working for Mr. Safra was a dream job. I mean, I'm being paid $600 a day, and I'm getting a $10,000 a month stipend to pay for the hotel, maid service, meals, open bar when you weren't working. They covered everything. Like, wow, life is good. The only thing I was lacking was my family. So I approached management after being there several months and said it would be really good if I could get my family over here. And they said, sure. I was checking out a school for the children. I was checking out an apartment that would be close by. So everything was set. I was very lucky. It was absolutely amazing.
He's absolutely loving it. He's got everything paid for him. He's making a really good rate per day as a nurse. I think he's getting $600 a shift plus a $10,000 allowance per month. He's getting everything absolutely catered for him, open bar whenever he's not working. So he's having a great time. But this is where, as Ted says, shit hits the fan.
One of the world's richest bankers died today in a violent and mysterious attack on his home in Monaco.
Safra and his nurse both suffocated to death. His wife managed to escape.
A second nurse was stabbed, but is recovering.
We quickly shoot to this press conference, and it's obviously all in French, so we won't play the audio for you. But instead, JB's going to tell the whole story in a French accent.
Oh, no, we'll not do that. The funny thing about this press conference is, how many times are we going to go, during this? I would not be doing it. That's it. That's the last time. We're banned. Okay, so it actually shows the prosecutor in this press conference. And the press conference just seems really chaotic. You've got all these. Yeah. He's a fair distance away from the main reporters, but you see these 2 reporters in particular have drawn I don't know if it's the short straw or not, but they're the ones that get to stick the microphones in his face. And he's leaning the whole press conference. Like, he's trying to get away from these people. It's actually quite funny to watch because he just seems really awkward the whole time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the room is absolutely jam-packed. Yeah, and as you said, it's so chaotic. It's crazy. But I mean, I guess it's one of the world's richest men in their tiny little town that's been murdered. So it is a huge deal for them over there as well.
It is.
So.
It is, and they don't really understand at this point what exactly has happened.
It's reported that 2 armed intruders, they broke into the penthouse, stabbed a nurse, and Edmond and the other nurse, the second nurse, Vivian, who we spoke about earlier, they both died from smoke inhalation. So at this stage, they don't know how the fire started or who the intruders are, but they've seized the videotapes, and they're, at this stage, just being studied. So they also mentioned at this press conference that the nurse that was stabbed is our old mate Ted.
Old mate Ted.
He's stabbed in the thigh and abdomen. So he's survived, but he's in a hospital.
How could one of the richest men in the world be killed in one of the securest countries in the world? What is most important to investigators is how anyone could have managed to get past all of the security that protected Safra.
So now we hear from this pretty cool cat named Mr. X. He sits in the shadows. He doesn't want to show his face. He doesn't want to reveal his name at all. And he was the ex-head of security for Edmond.
Is that why they call him Mr. X?
Yeah, maybe it's not just a clever name. So he spoke about all the security that was constantly around Edmonds. I think he said that they had 24 security guards or private bodyguards around them all the time. And these guys, they were really, really highly trained. So these guys are special armed forces from all around the world. So these weren't just your standard mall cops falling asleep on a stool or anything like that, or Kevin James and Mall Cop. What's his name? Paul Blart, I think. Paul Blart. Terrible name. So
I love that they show actually some footage of their security guards as well. Like you said, there's like 25 of them, and there's one section where they're sort of lined up like degenerates waiting for their shot at Bonnie Blue. They're in this they're all in this tracksuits. They just don't look like security guards that you mentioned in like heavy armed forces, like real professional guards or anything like that. And they're practicing their quick draws. One guy's doing a one-arm push up. You're like, what is going on here? This more looks like a comedy skit.
So X, he's saying with this level of security around him at all times, between the security guards, the cameras, this attack, it's not possible. It couldn't have happened.
Edmond was very satisfied with all the security. With the protection he had, it shouldn't have happened.
So this is the part of the documentary that you start to think, something's dodgy here. I reckon there's a bit of an inside job happening. It's a professional hit. Something else must be going on.
Yeah, something doesn't add up, like you said. It's with all those guards. It's like Mr. Burns' compound. He's got like dogs and people with guns everywhere. They're holding Uzis. How can two intruders come in and get out scot-free?
Edmond Safra died the way he feared he might. The fire that killed him was set by two hooded intruders who somehow got past the security at Safra's penthouse.
Police believe it was a professional job. Very likely organized crime.
Whoever it was has a long reach and is capable of organizing a daring, brutal, and vindictive maneuver.
He was a billionaire in his own right, the head of an international financial empire, and he had enemies.
Now the rumour mill's absolutely pumping. The media is now reporting that the Russian mob had a contract out for Edmond's life. And did you have any jokes about the Russian mob that you want to insert here, John?
No,
JB?
no, nothing.
No, you're
nothing.
good. Oh,
I'm
okay,
good.
yeah. Me either. We'll just skip past that.
Vladimir is listening.
We have another one. All right, so now we're introduced to Bill Browder. So Bill Browder was Safra's business partner, and he was his Russian connection. And Bill was an expert on the Russian stock market, and he ran a hedge fund. These two guys, Bill and Edmond, they put in $25 million, and then within 18 months, turned into $1 billion. So these guys knew what they were doing, and they were crazy good at it.
Yeah, and Bill Browder, as soon as you see him, I instantly thought, is this Edmond's body double? Just looks like a younger version than him. Like, there are so many bald blokes in this documentary, and they all look the same. My wife says that all the time, and I've never really agreed with her until I watch this documentary. It's like I'm looking at a Where's Wally picture looking for Edmond, and there's all these bald blokes in it. You know what I mean? What is going on here?
Your wife's the baldest.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so these guys are making an absolute ton of money, but due to the 98 crash, the Russian dollar devalued by 75%. And they lost $900 million of their clients' money.
Well, it's their clients' money. Who really gives a shit? It's not their money.
Well, a few people gave a shit.
The ruble's value tumbled on the Moscow trading screens. Russian banks have collapsed.
The situation has become lethal. Most Russian banks are bankrupt.
Edmond Safra was deeply involved in Russia. His banks had lost billions there in the economic collapse, and in recent months he had moved to dramatically reduce the amount of business his banks did there. It was a move that almost certainly left powerful people unhappy.
So now Edmond's got a few extremely, really powerful people in Russia pissed off at him, and both Edmond and Bill, they're really understandably nervous. So we go to this TV news report about even more mafia assassinations within the Russian capital, and they're all businessmen killed by Russian mobsters. And they showed absolutely everything on these news clips. You just see the dead bodies of these businessmen overseas. There's just blood everywhere. Just their heads are absolutely blowing off and car bombs going off. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, and sort of reminded me of like Mexico.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
gangs are up against each other and they do horrific things to people in public because they want the public to see it, and it's probably the same in Russia.
Yeah, they would just want to send that message. So they talk about how dangerous it is to actually invest in Russia, as these companies were majority owned by Russian oligarchs. Did you know
I actually didn't know what the hell an oligarch was.
No.
Basically, it is a wealthy businessman that is backed by the government. So that's what makes them so powerful, the fact that they've got the government behind them, along with a shitload of cash. So that's enough to make anyone a bit nervous and sort of want to, I guess, polish those shoes of those guys.
Yeah, right. So Bill, he talks about a particularly bad experience over there with an oligarch that him and Edmond had when they invested in this oil company. So this oil company was 96% owned by a Russian oligarch named Vladimir Putin. I reckon I nailed that.
Well done.
So this guy at the time, he was the richest man in Russia, and he was worth over $24 billion. So Bill says that Vladimir was basically going to steal 75% of the money that they had made. So he goes off to Edmond and he says, mate, we're going to have to go to war with this guy. And smartly, Edmond says, nah, fuck that shit. Do you know who he is?
Those guys.
Yeah, that's all right. This guy, he'll just kill you and not even think twice about it. So Edmond set up Bill with 15 personal security guards to protect Bill. And these guys, they're checking the rooftops for snipers. They're looking for car bombs, poisons in the food and drink, and any and all types of assassination attempts. And these guys are freaking out. And, I mean, for good reason, too.
Yeah, rightly so. And you can see Bill is still alive today, but he would have been freaking out. I mean, especially if you've got a family, you don't know what you're dealing with these people and what they're capable of.
That's right, yeah. And he talks later on about how many assassination attempts he's had on his life. And he's still smiling.
Yeah, I know.
First of all, get off the camera and go hide.
Edmond was paranoid because certainly he had done business with Russia with some very unsavory characters. Also, around the time that Safra is investing in Bill Browder's hedge fund, that's when he comes across Russian mob money flowing into American banks. And Safra reports this to the FBI.
So there's this letter from the FBI thanking Edmond for his cooperation. And the letter's dated August 5th, 1999. And then the start of December, so 4 months later, Edmond's dead. So Edmond dobbed in Russia for laundering money through a company, basically. So the FBI, they became aware of that, thanked Edmond publicly for it. So,
which I found sort of interesting because Edmond was freaking out about the Russians and didn't want to piss them off, but then rats them out to the FBI. But like you said, then they publicly thank him here to his bank, and it's like, oh God, poor Edmond, he's fucked.
Yeah. Shortly after being a little snitch to the FBI, he moves to Monaco, and that's much, much safer for him and his wife. And more importantly, his money's safer there because, as you said earlier, he doesn't have to pay all those pesky taxes that us poor people have to pay.
That's right.
So now I'm thinking, all right, no-brainer. Russians have killed Edmond, case closed, moved on. Don't prosecute them, that's fine. Just let it be. Let's move on. And then we also see the blueprints of Edmond's penthouse. And this thing is absolutely huge. It's like a fucking hotel. It's massive. It's above his bank and it's super duper safe with all the security that the bank would have had, let alone his apartment itself. So this thing was absolutely huge.
They show like a bit of a blueprint of it, and the bird's eye view of the panic room, it's actually a bathroom.
Yeah, they describe it as bathroom/panic room.
That's right. And on the actual blueprint, you can see there's a double basin and there's a bath in there along with the chair. I don't know what goes on in this bathroom. And there's so many different rooms. I think you mentioned about like it's huge and it just looks like a maze. Didn't it?
They describe it as a labyrinth of rooms. They said it's 10,000 square feet just as penthouse alone. So,
yeah, it's huge.
And the panic room that you described, has bulletproof window shutters, bulletproof doors, obviously your panic buttons, and security cameras everywhere. So,
just wasn't smoke-proof, clearly.
Not smoke-proof, no. So this place, it was an absolute fortress, and it's completely impenetrable.
How is it possible that the assassins were able to get into one of the most secure private residences in the world?
One of the possible theories was that the penthouse was easily accessible from the hotel next door.
Yeah, so they show you the footage of the hotel next to the other hotel where they thought that's the only real possible place these intruders could have accessed it from. And looking at the height and the gap between the two buildings, and it's a few meters, and I'm thinking there's no chance if you're standing on that roof that you are looking down and go, I'm going to make this jump. These guys aren't Steve-O. You know what I mean? It's like there's no chance they are going to jump from one building to the other. First of all, they're going to get to the top of that other building to begin with, which I'm sure has got its own set of security. And the way that the roof was set up into the penthouse, it didn't look like there would be access from outside
No,
to
that's
in
right,
either.
yeah.
Especially with
And
these steel shutters. It just didn't make any sense.
And with Mr. X, he was saying earlier about how tight security was constantly around it. They would have identified this if it was a weak point, like it was an access point from the roof to the windows. There's no way it was possible.
No chance.
So we jump from here to Edmond's funeral in Geneva, and we find out on the same day of the funeral a new twist in the case.
On the day of Edmond's funeral, there was this crazy twist.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York.
Almost as soon as the billionaire banker Edmond Safra was murdered in Monaco on Friday, investigators began to speculate that it was the work of organized crime in Russia. In fact, it was an American nurse who killed him.
In Monte Carlo tonight, a strange twist in the murder mystery.
A bizarre twist developed today in the mysterious death.
As friends of Edmond Safra gathered in Geneva for his funeral, police in Monaco arrested his nurse, charging him with arson in the fire that killed the internationally renowned banker.
The sudden twist seemed to come out of left field.
Authorities say Ted Mayer concocted a plan he thought would make him a hero in the billionaire's eyes. The nurse set the fire in a wastebasket and planned to rescue Safra.
Ted Mayer set the fire. He alerted a security guard, believing that firemen would put out the flames before they spread, and he stabbed himself to make it look as though he had fought off intruders.
He's going to stab himself, set the fire, and run out and pretend that he's fought against two intruders. It was such a crazy story.
And boom, our old mate Ted, he's been arrested, and we go back to another press conference, and the lead detective, he tells us that Ted, he's actually admitted to everything, and he's acted alone, or just for all personal gain reasons. So don't worry, everyone, no indication of conspiracy, and zero indication that it's been commissioned by a hit. Nothing to see here. It was the American.
Yeah, it's very tidy for them, isn't it?
That's right.
Very convenient.
Nice little bow on there.
Yes.
And obviously, one of the reporters, they actually asked about the CCTV footage, because it's an obvious question, because all the answers will be on that. And he says, oh, the footage has been deleted. I
said we weren't going to go,
I couldn't help myself. It's just there. So all the footage is actually being deleted off the camera, so that's super convenient.
The next thing I know, I'm being transported to jail. You can't imagine the hell I was going through being brought into those doors, thinking about my wife and children and how long I was going to be away from them. I knew that I had to prove my innocence.
We hear from Ted's lawyer, Michael Griffith, and Ted tells him that this whole thing is bullshit and he's just being set up as a fall guy. And he claims that he was, in fact, stabbed by the two intruders that broke in, and the day before the murder, Ted was abducted on the street by two guys in a van.
A day before the incident occurred, he was abducted off the streets of Nice by people in a van.
Well, what happened was I was just, walking down the street, and I noticed this white van was definitely keeping an eye on me, following me. I'm like, what the heck is this all about? As soon as it happened so quick, and I was just pushed into this van. These guys were masked, they had guns, and their voices were Russian.
They showed him pictures of his wife coming out of their home in New York, pictures of his children.
They made it really clear that, I would do what I was told to make sure these
steel shutters, which cover the windows in Mr. Safra's apartment, are open on one night
in particular. I said, I'm not even working this night. I'm off. And then they said, you will be there.
I find it hard to believe he's telling this story. I'm not really believing him at this stage. Like, he's this Green Beret army guy that just happens to be walking down the street and just gets bonded into a van. I just don't really believe it. I don't know. I just get vibes from this guy straight away.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm still on Team Ted at the moment.
Yeah, I wasn't on Team Ted at all from the get-go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how it pans out.
Yeah.
So these guys, they basically want to make sure that Ted's working this particular night, and also to leave one of the bulletproof shutters that we spoke about earlier up on the side of the building. So Ted's freaking out about this, but conveniently that morning he gets a call from the head nurse saying, "Oh, someone called in sick. Can you work tonight?" So very, very convenient, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of convenient things in his stories.
Yeah, he recounts that night as he remembers it.
I checked all the windows and the steel shutters are all closed. But then I noticed the nursing station shutters was still open. I was in a little room that Safra utilized for a gym. The next thing I know, I'm hit over the back of the head. I see the intruders. These two guys are masked. My special forces training took over. I grabbed a 10-kilo weight. I hit one of the guys. He went down. The other guy had a knife. This guy came forward with a knife and got me mid-sides where I'm grabbing his hand and coming down. And I blacked out. After being unconscious for maybe a couple seconds, I came to, and I'm bleeding. I'm looking around, I don't see anybody. I went to the bedroom where Safra was, and Vivian says, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." And I said, "Somebody's broken in and put Safra in what we call a safe room, and here's my cell phone. Call for help." We had a small trash can there. In French, it's called a poubelle. I put it right underneath the smoke alarm. And I lift some tissue into the can. Then the alarm went off. I make it to the elevator. I'm feeling real dizzy, and I pass out.
So how the hell is Ted stabbed, knocked unconscious, and then he wakes up and he's able to find Safran before these two assassins do? So
yeah, I don't understand. And you ever notice a lot of these bullshit stories that people tell, they always black out. You know what I mean? I can't remember this shit. And he mentions it's only for like a couple of seconds after getting stabbed. I think I was out for like 2 seconds. 1, 2, opens his eyes. Everyone's gone.
Yeah,
the house is quiet all of a sudden.
But why even set the fire? Why not just go down the elevator and tell the concierge?
I had the same thought.
Intruders.
I had the same thought. Why go to the effort of doing that where concierge can just get onto the phone straight away? He mentions that he did it to get the fire brigade and the police there as quickly as possible. And the other thing is too, he mentions he lit a tissue or some tissue paper in a metal bin, and they do show you a picture of the metal bin. Somehow manages to burn the whole penthouse down.
That's right.
I've attempted to start many fires in my wood fire heater in my lounge room, and I struggle with the bloody firelighters. I don't know how he's managed to burn this penthouse down.
That's right,
with one bit of tissue paper in a metal bin.
Yeah, the math's just not mathing.
No, it's not.
No. So we hear from Ted's wife, Heidi, and she's back in America at this stage, and she's contacted by Lily Safra about Ted and all the situation. So she jumps on the next plane along with her brother, and in the limo ride between the airport and Ted, who's in hospital, the limo driver, he receives a phone call, and all of a sudden he turns the limo around and he heads off to the police station.
I was questioned at the police station extensively, the background, how he got the job. I left the police station for a break outside with my brother. Suddenly a car came up with 3 people all dressed in black jumpsuits and grabbed us and kidnapped us. They held us in a room in a hotel for 3 days under surveillance and took our passports.
Yeah, it's sounding very similar to Ted's story.
That's right. There's a lot of kidnapping and vans going on in this tiny little
Where
city.
are we, Mexico?
Yeah, that's right. We shoot to Ted in the hospital bed, and he finds out that Edmond and Vivian have died. He's absolutely shocked. He claims that he's forced to sign these documents, claiming that he's responsible for the death. And the police officer says to him at the stage, "You either sign this, or your wife's not going to go back to see your children." And he shows him the passport that he's taken off her.
And he claims that this document is all in French. He didn't know what it says, and says, "Well, what would you do in this situation?" Well, for starters, I wouldn't be signing anything if it was all in French and I didn't understand French.
I mean, he was put under a lot of pressure, according to him, so who knows? But Ted, he's obviously denying all of this, that he killed them and he's responsible. So, and then he talks about why would he want to do that? This job, it's a golden goose. It's paying him, as we said earlier, $10,000 a month, $600 a shift. He's getting pretty good money from it.
That's right.
So now there's a few people thinking this whole thing, it's absolutely crazy. And maybe Edmond's wife, Lily, she might have something to do with it because she'd obviously have the most to benefit from his death. So
and the documentary's doing this well too because they lead you down the path of the Russian mob first, then they're leading you down the path of Ted, and now they go on to Lily Safra. And you almost get convinced that it's the Russians, now I'm convinced that it's Ted, and now all of a sudden, bang, we're into Lily Safra, and you start to hear a bit more about her background as well.
Yeah, they do a really, really good job of it. Or I'm super easily led because I was 100% invested it was the Russians that did it. So we're back here with the investigative reporter, Isabel, and she can't find much information on the early life of Lily. So she actually ends up moving to Brazil to try and dig up dirt where Lily's from. She's super invested into the story.
Oh, like I said, she's a tenacious reporter. So she's just doing it's a fascinating story as well. So yeah, good on her for getting up and moving to Brazil. Pretty ballsy.
Yeah, full on, yeah. But she's saying over there, people are clamming up. They're not saying much about her at all. And she's just hearing around town that everyone's really scared of Lily and she's seen as a dangerous woman. While she was living in Brazil investigating Lily, she actually felt like someone was watching her constantly and sort of sitting there viewing her or watching her apartment. It's really, really full on. This Lily, she's got so much power over so many people. This is a completely different country and people are terrified of her. And while she's there, she actually finds more about Lily and her previous marriages. So she's been married, I think it was 4 times. So, and on her second marriage to Alfredo Montraverde. I don't think I nailed that one as much. I'm going to go with it anyway. So she was married to this guy. He was the richest man in Brazil at the time. And he owned a whole bunch of retail stores.
Yeah, it was refrigeration. He was basically Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration.
Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. He actually died, unfortunately, while married to Lily by suicide with 2 gunshots to the chest.
That's right. And you didn't actually mention it, but her first husband died as well. I don't think it was in such controversial circumstances as poor Alfredo or Bob Vance, but I did do some deep diving into firearm suicides, and there was a retrospective study of 445 firearm suicides with the wound location information. About 89% of those suicides were to the head. It was only about 9% of those were to the chest, and about 2% were in other body areas. But you've got a 9% chance of someone shooting themselves in the chest, but even rarer, you're going to have 2 shots coming from the same gun.
Who the hell is shooting themselves twice in the chest to kill themselves?
It's like, I couldn't stand this woman. I'm shooting myself twice.
That's right. Because there's so much money involved, it's just deemed a suicide. Another just dodgy payoff going on here by the sounds of it. So previously I was convinced that the Russians 100% killed him. Now I'm team Lily as the murderer.
Yeah, I'm still team Ted at this stage.
Okay, all right. We'll see how it goes. We head on back to my mate, Lady Colin Campbell, and we're just going to go back and forth with her recording because I just think she's awesome.
I'm a lady, don't you know?
Rosita Fanto, Freddie Monteverdi's sister, was a great friend of mine. Freddie had discovered that Lily was having an affair with Edmond Safra. Freddie called Rosita and told her that he would be getting in touch with his lawyers to divorce Lily. And shortly thereafter, Freddie was found dead.
Lily, she doesn't fuck around when it comes to securing his assets. The original shareholders in Freddie's company were actually his sister and his mum, but Lily changed the will so that she was the sole beneficiary of all of his fortune.
And here's the thing, you got to think about motivation here. So she's this socialite going up the ranks and I guess marrying rich and powerful people, inheriting a shitload of money from Alfredo here. But you got to think about a motivation to then kill Edmond because she's already loaded by the time she meets him.
I'm not too sure it's the Parkinson's, he's getting in the way now, but we find out that both of the wills of her husbands, as well as Edmond, they'll change weeks before they died. Super convenient.
You're not sus at all.
Yeah, it's just the timing of it. It just seems like she's not even trying to hide it at all. Just seems so obvious.
And you would think that the police would be right onto that, but they don't seem to really look into it at all. Well, at least we don't know if they do or not, because they don't mention in the documentary. It's just people's suspicions. That's all they've got.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And even Edmond, his will is apparently changed right before Edmond's death as well. So his brothers, Moise and Joseph, they were actually his best friends, and they were erased from the will completely. And Lily, she's left with the entire fortune, which was $4.8 billion, tax-free as well.
That's a lot of plastic surgery.
Yeah, sure. So just all this timing, it's just super convenient for Lily. There's just all the little boxes are being ticked. They end up becoming citizens, I think it's 2 weeks before his death as well. So because if you're a citizen of Monaco, you don't have to pay taxes, as you said earlier. So she wanted to make sure that she inherited all this money, she didn't have to pay any taxes on it as well. So it just seems like she's just almost too cocky with all this sort of stuff.
And her out in the press as well, talking about his death and how much he loved him. She sort of reminded me of that Charlie Kirk's wife. Erica didn't seem that upset about it. Like a bit of alligator tears, really upset she's inherited all this money.
Yeah, doing cartwheels on the stage.
Yeah.
The main reason people suspected Lily was because on the night that Edmond died, the bodyguards supposedly had the night off.
Not one member of Safra's personal army was with him the night of the fire.
A few months before, Lily gave a clear order that she doesn't want any security there because Monaco is secure.
She tells the security to all step down. It's safe enough there. She doesn't need them. Edmond doesn't need them anymore. But Mr. X, the head of security, he thinks it's obviously a fucking stupid idea. Doesn't agree with her at all. So she fires him. She ends up hiring just a new head of security, and he's pretty much just another yes man. He'll just do whatever he wants for Lily whenever she wants. If she wants him to stand down, he'll stand down.
That's right. You don't really hear from him either. This Samuel Cohen, like they show a picture of him, and that's pretty much it as far as his involvement goes. He's probably got a bunch of money chucked at him. He's going to do whatever she wants.
There's a lot of people that are pointing fingers at Lily at this stage, but Monaco, they're still determined to pin it on the American nurse Ted. So he ends up having a trial for the murder of Edmond and Vivian as well. Ted's given a defense lawyer from Monaco, and she just wants him to admit it, because otherwise he's just going to come across as a liar. But his American lawyer, Michael, he tells her pretty much just to fuck off, and he's going to fight for Ted. And he stands by the story that the two intruders came in, stabbed Ted, the whole fire in the bin situation, everything like that. But for some reason, Ted, he doesn't retract his signed confession. Maybe he feels like the manslaughter is going to be better than the murder. I'm not too sure.
Maybe, and that's the thing. These lawyers from Monaco that he's been given, she seems pretty switched on too. And she was of the opinion, and they all were, that his story was just so unbelievable. He was better off recanting. And I agreed with him, wholeheartedly, you know. And I like his lawyer. I actually find him quite a character in it. He's trying to do what's best for Ted here, and that's why he's disagreeing with these lawyers from Monaco.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And the prosecution, they come in really hard. So they're claiming that Ted, he set up the entire thing to try and look like a hero. They claim that Ted was in financial ruins and he set it all up to show that Edmond how amazing he was and, you know, he's the hero, everything like that. And he's trying to get, I don't know, a money bonus or a raise, something like that. So that's their idea of what happened that night and the motive with Ted. All right, so they also bring up as a witness Sonia, and she's the head nurse. And she basically says that Ted would constantly complain about not getting enough money. She also claims that he was actually scheduled to work that night, and he just made up all that bullshit about the masked men and the rearranging of Ross to work that night.
He said that he wasn't supposed to be working on that Friday, but then he was.
It's not true. He was scheduled as he was scheduled. He made it up. The evening of December the 2nd, 1999, a male attendant and I had taken care of Mr. Safra during the day. So we gave a report to Vivian and to Ted. I noticed that Ted was kind of frantic and couldn't wait for us to get out of the penthouse.
Actually really like Sonia. She seems very reliable, matter of fact, and the people that are telling the truth generally come across that way. It's the people that are lying that sort of seem a bit untrustworthy and this story doesn't make sense. She just was like, this is what happened, and she had no real reason to lie about it. And I think her versions of event, completely destroys Ted's versions.
Yeah, that's right. So, and she claims that when Ted was putting Edmond to bed that night, he said to him, "You're going to sleep well tonight, Mr. Safra." So it seemed
exactly.
very ominous point there. So she definitely thinks Ted did it. Yeah, that's
exactly
right.
right.
And she claims that, what does he say? She says that he's got a real Jekyll and Hyde personality and he's overly aggressive.
Yeah, they didn't get along from the get-go. Like, I think she was the head nurse and he sort of come along, and anything that he would do, she felt that it was to get in the good graces of Edmond and to almost like trying to take her job. That's how she felt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was brown-nosing to try and get ahead a bit.
He was brown-nosing. He thought he wasn't getting enough shifts because she was like the shift manager as well. And like you said, he's getting all this money, but he's not getting enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. And so the prosecution, they're really trying to paint a picture of Ted as this money-hungry American man. He'll just do whatever he can to try and get some more cash. And they actually bring his wife, Heidi, to the stand, and they quiz her on what Ted was like. And they say in a previous letter that she wrote to Ted that she claims money was his mistress. And she claims there was a lot more stress about bills and how they'd always have a mortgage and he'd just always be super stressed about money. So they're even using people on Ted's team against him at this stage.
That's right. And that just goes against everything he was saying about, we were very comfortable and I'm earning all this money. And like, why would I, like the golden goose, I think you mentioned earlier, like, why would I do that? But then she's just like coming, like, blown that out of the water instantly.
Yeah, and they start talking about the CCTV footage finally as well, and it's got to be, clear evidence of the two intruders, right? But conveniently, the footage has been erased. But it's fine because they've got an answer for that one as well. So they claim that 2 weeks prior to the murder, the head nurse, Sonia, she saw Ted in the nurse's station standing on a chair, fiddling with the ceiling tiles and messing around with cables up there. So she tells everybody that Ted used to work for a casino in Vegas in the video security department. He'd obviously know, all these types of things.
I don't know how hard it would be to just disconnect a cable back in the day. We're talking about the late 90s and CCTV. It wouldn't have been like it is today where it's all Wi-Fi and you can sort of, everything's like on the cloud. It literally just been like pulling out a cable. Like you don't really need special training to do that.
No,
I guess it's more about the location of the cables and that's it. And he had access to every room and he would have known, and all the staff would have known exactly where it was. So doesn't convince me. But the other thing that they mention for Sonia, who I think is a really good witness, is that she was an unreliable witness. And I didn't really agree with that. And the only reason they mentioned that she was an unreliable witness is the fact that they had disagreements. And it's like, well, any time that you put a witness on the stand that is with the prosecution or with the defense has a bias against the defendant or the state. So that didn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, I thought Sonia was great up there. And as you said, she was a real matter of fact and she just stuck to her story. It was just a basic story and she didn't deviate from it.
Yeah, it's like Ted's a dick. That's just how it is.
End of story. Throw away the key.
Yeah.
So they also bring up his background with the Green Beret, and when he was in the military, he worked as a ground medical unit. So they say that he knew exactly where to stab himself so he wouldn't damage any vital organs. They're doing a super good job for any kind of questions. They're ticking that box. So the defense, they're claiming that Ted, he's not responsible for the death of Edmond and Vivian. And in fact, it was the Monaco police and fire department that were negligent. So now at this point in the murder, we've got possibly Ted, the Russian oligarchs, the Russian mob, Lily Safra, and now the Monaco Emergency Services. Like,
that's right. They're all in on it.
They're all in it. There's a lot of finger pointing going on here.
That's right.
So they say that Ted, he set the fire to alert the fire department, who should be there in 10 to 15 minutes, which they actually were, but it took them 2.5 hours to do anything at all. So, and it was during that time that Edmond and Vivian died.
What happened was, Ted, after he'd been stabbed, had come out to the concierge and he's covered in blood, and the concierge had actually thought he had been shot. And that's what started this whole issue, is that you, as a police officer, and you need to go in there and help people, but they've got a fire, they need the fire brigade to go in. But the fire brigade's not going to go in if there is a potential active shooter. And they showed the I guess another blueprint of the building here, and it's this like 5-story building, but there were 27, I believe, levels.
23 underground car park levels.
23 undercut. And so the police had to clear every single level to make sure there was no active shooter in there, so the firemen could actually go in safely and extinguish the fire.
Yeah, and the new head of security, Samuel Cohen, he ends up traveling to the penthouse because he's word of it. He's got a key for the apartment. He can get in there. He knows exactly where to go. But the police refuses help. So they just completely ignore him. So he thinks, fuck this, I'm going out there by myself. So he runs for the elevator to go up there and try and get Edmond. But the police actually tackle him and handcuff him and keep him on the ground there. So, and he says at one point he was handcuffed sitting on the ground and he overhears one of the firemen saying to another guy, I'm really afraid. I'm actually scared of heights.
Yes.
But isn't that fucking question number one to become a firefighter? So an hour and 45 minutes after the fire started, the firefighters decide, yeah, we better start doing something here. But the police still won't let them advance. And then it's another 45 minutes after that they're finally allowed to start fighting the fire. So now this is close to 3 hours after the police get there that they discover the bodies of Edmond Safra and Vivian Torrente.
And the sad thing about this is that Edmond was actually on the phone to Lady Safra at times throughout the ordeal, saying, hey, smoke's starting to come in. And so they were well and truly aware of the fact that they were in danger. And I believe it was only 45 minutes later that from that last phone call, that they do come in and find their bodies. That's really sad. There were plenty of opportunity for them to go in. Yeah. And yeah, like they say, it was a big blunder, a big fuck up by the emergency services. And I tend to agree with them. But then again, like we said, they've also got a job to do to make it safe for the firefighters. And it was just, they just weren't quick enough.
Yeah, exactly. They're saying that, as you said, the police botched the whole situation. Plus, the CCTV footage, it's now missing. The police stopped the fire department from actually doing the job. The security were all told to have the night off. So now the attention is all back solely on Lily.
I went to bed and fell asleep. Then suddenly I heard what I thought was the bell. And it kept ringing. It was a telephone. It was my husband. And he said, Sherry, there are aggressors in the house. They have injured Ted Mayer. Close yourself in and call the police. Suddenly, all the blinds opened up by themselves. But only to the level of the railing. I didn't know how I got out. That I did.
So I found it interesting what Lily just said there. She mentioned that Edmond was on the phone and called her from the panic room, and he had mentioned to her that there were 2 aggressors there and Ted had been injured. And I thought, if that was the case, this is her testimony. If she had something to do with this, right, she would have seen that Ted, it could be the fall guy here. She could have had the opportunity to throw him under the bus in this situation. She could have said, Ted's trying to attack us. I think she could have come up with any. She could have come up with any story here, but no, she actually said that Edmond had called her and said there were 2 aggressors and Ted's been injured. And all I can gather from that is that Ted is the one that's come up to Edmond and said, you need to get into the panic room, and has told him what has happened. Edmond probably hasn't even seen anyone by this stage.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but I'm still skeptical on Lily. Like she says beforehand, the security blinds opened up in her room by themselves, just halfway, and she doesn't know how she got out of the apartment, but she did.
Yeah, I guess.
Girl.
But she could also say, it's a panic situation. She's an old woman and she's just trying to get out. Her husband has died as well. As much as she's been like Erica Kirk here, she still could be, everyone grieves differently, and she could have blocked out that from her memory. It would have been a stressful time.
Well, thankfully, Lady Campbell, she's on my side.
Joseph told me that she's the one who kept him in the strong room because there was a code between them. The code was that if she told Edmond to come out of the room, he mustn't open the door because they were in danger. She was clever, very clever.
Even the brothers, they make a statement at the trial that there's no doubt in their minds that Lily's behind it. But after only a few hours of deliberating, Ted is found guilty and is sentenced to 10 years. So 10 years is pretty light.
It is for two what they call murders
manslaughters?
as well. They do say murder.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I want to know how they've managed to prove that it was intentional to murder them as well. So, that's something for that. They really gloss over that. You don't really see how they came to that conclusion. It's just all of a sudden, bang, guilty.
Yeah, it is really skimmed over. And you just see Heidi after the fact, and she vows that, this isn't ending here and they're going to fight. But because there wasn't enough going on with this story, we now meet Ted's cellmate, and mate, he is a character. This guy is awesome. Luigi.
Another bald guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, another bald guy.
He looks like the Penguin from the Batman movies.
Yeah, he's awesome. He only speaks Italian in it, so we can't play his audio.
It's a shame.
And I like at one point of it, he describes himself as Robin Hood, and he steals from the rich and gives to the poor. Not poor people, just one poor person, himself.
He's a real douchebag. Like, I know you love him. Like, he's a great character, but he's just so full of himself and a massive ego on him.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, him and Ted, they were saying that the prison, Monaco, was amazing. They said it was like a 5-star hotel. They said the food was awesome, had ocean views in the Mediterranean. I was like, they showed it. I was like, mate, this looks amazing. It's
better than where we live.
Yeah, it's heaps better than the meat pie sandwiches we have for lunch on site every day. While they're in there, Ted, he finds out that he's going to be transferred to a French prison, and that's 85% Muslim. And this was during the time of President Bush playing cowboys in Afghanistan and Iraq. So Ted, he's really nervous, and he's not going to be very popular at this prison.
No, initially I was thinking he's so racist, but then when he mentions about Bush and that, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I can understand your concern. You worry that you may get murdered in that prison.
Yeah. So next thing we know, Ted's planning a prison escape.
Yeah,
so, the story's bonkers.
And that's the thing. He's planning this prison escape, but he's claiming innocence. But this is just going to make him look more guilty. Yeah. He's only gotten 10 years. I know I say only, but for 2 murder charges, just cop it on the chin, go through your appeal process, and the worst thing you can do at this stage is try and escape.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So him and Luigi, his cellmate, who he obviously needs because his cellmate's going to see him trying to hack through the bars. So he needs to join forces. They name the escape mission Monaco Fuck You.
Yeah, that's right.
And they start their plan to break out of prison. So they end up smuggling in hacksaw blades and they start cutting through the bars. I think it was 8 series of bars.
There are 8 sets of bars here, and the way that they smuggled in these hacksaw blades was through his priest. His sister organized a Bible with the 4 hacksaw blades because the priest had a pacemaker and was not required to go through the security checks like the metal detector. So he was able to smuggle. And it's funny, they go back to Luigi, and Luigi completely disagrees with that. That's the way it went down. He goes, Ted always likes to be the main character in stories.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So it's a real Ocean's 11 type of situation now. It's so crazy, all the stuff that's going on.
There were 8 rows of bars he had to get through. He's only got 4 hacksaw blades, and we know how hard it is to cut metal. We've got reciprocator saws and we've got new blades. They fucking bend on you, the teeth go, and you can barely get through 1 nail. This guy's got 4 hacksaw blades to hack away at 8 levels of I can only imagine real tough steel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I can imagine the blisters on his hand, all the swearing that would have been going on.
Exactly, yeah. So 5.5 weeks later, they finally do it. They break through the bars. And it was quite smart the way they were trying to hide the little cuts on the bars. They were mixing up glue and cigarette ash after they'd had a little cutting session, and then masked the cuts so the security guards wouldn't see.
That was very smart, but also doing it during TV time, so they'd crank the volume up on the TV, and that's when they'd make the cuts because it would make quite a loud sound. So that it was very Shawshank Redemption style.
Definitely, yeah. So now they've got the opportunity. So they've got the hole in the bars, and now they've just got to wait for the perfect night. So I think it's the night of the Champion League soccer match, and they knew all the security guards are going to be absolutely glued to the TVs. This is time for their great escape. They're just about to jump out of the window, and Luigi says to Ted, listen, I better go first because I'm the skinniest and you've got a fat ass.
Yeah, he literally says you got a fat ass. And I'm looking at this Luigi going, oh, mate, you're not too skinny.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So Ted says, I don't give a fuck as long as we both get out of here, it's fine. Luigi climbs down they say the rope, but I imagine it's bed sheets tied together.
Yeah.
So he scales down, he gets to the bottom, he throws up the double birds and says, fuck you, Monaco, and runs. And Ted's thinking, this guy's just left me. And Ted's trying to climb out the window. He ends up getting stuck. And he's stuck there for 5 to 10 minutes while his cellmate and partner in crime has hightailed it out of there.
They really make it picture like his legs are dangling and kicking while his fat guts are stuck between these bars.
Yeah, that's right. 5 or 10 minutes later, he finally gets out of there. He jumps the walls, gets out of the ground. Somehow he doesn't really sort of go through that much. But he's wandering up the streets in Monaco. And he says that because the Monaco prison, it's more like a hotel, they don't actually have to wear the prison jumpsuits. They just wear like tourist clothes.
Yeah.
So he's just walking down the street, just blending in straight away. And then there's 3 cops standing on the street on the footpath. And he's thinking, oh, shit.
And apparently his face is like so well known in Monaco that everyone knows who he is.
These 3 cops look at him and just go, bonjour. And Ted goes, oh, bonjour, and just keep fucking walking past.
Clenched butt cheeks.
Oh, yeah, big time. So he ends up walking 25 miles to Nice in France. So now he's thinking, holy shit, I've done it. I've escaped prison. I've fled the country. I'm in France now. I'm clear. So
Scot-free. And just for our Australian listeners, 25 miles is approximately 40 kilometres.
Oh, so he's walked a marathon. He finds this little dingy hotel, like a little 2-star hotel. He goes inside. He says that he's a tourist and his car's broken down and he needs to use the phone. He ends up calling his sister, gets her credit card numbers so that he can pay for the room for the night. And then while he's in the room, he calls up his priest, the one who smuggled in the hacksaws, Father Ball. Terrible name for a priest, by the way. Father Ball.
Oh, God.
When I was at high school, we had a priest called Father Hands. So wouldn't you change
Worse
it?
than balls.
Very handsy. He says to the priest, mate, I need some cash. I'll meet you on this particular road in Nice. We'll set it all up and I can try and get away. And then he also calls his wife, Heidi.
I said, who is this? And he said, it's me, Ted. And he just kept talking. I couldn't even speak. He said, I'm out. And I said, you're what? He said, I'm out.
Before I could go any further, oh my God, you're a fugitive. I'm not speaking to you. I'm going to get in trouble too. Again, I have nothing to say to you. And she hung up the phone. If that wasn't enough, she calls my Monegasque attorney, and he contacts the prison.
His lawyer says, is my client still there?
They see my bed. I'm in bed.
Yeah, he's still here.
Allez, Mr. Mayor. Allez. Pull back the car. Oh, putain de merde.
The Reverend calls the police, and the police trace the phone call.
They dob him in.
Yeah, he's pissed as well. Like the ultimate betrayal from Heidi.
Yeah, and his priest as well.
And his priest. He's like, oh, my fucking lawyer, my wife, even my priest.
That's right.
It's bullshit.
Do you reckon if your wife was in the same circumstance as Ted, would you dob her in?
Would I dob her in? No, I'm far too loyal. I mean,
Yeah,
you're just as loyal as me. We've been with the same woman our whole life.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. No.
We aren't going to go into that Tinder world. We're going to get murdered on our first date.
Yeah, that's right. So Ted, he's chilling in the hotel. He's actually in the bath. They mentioned that the checkout is midday, and it's 5 to 12, so it's 11:55 a.m. Ted's trying to get every last second in this hotel before
his dick is still out at 5 to 12.
That's right, yeah. And then the police bust in and arrest him. He goes, I don't even have time to put on underwear.
Yeah. What an idiot.
Yeah. Now Heidi, she's turning on Ted. She initially wanted him home, but now she's not too sure.
I did the best I could to bring him home, but now it seems like he's doing his own job of screwing up. Part of me wanted him home, but the bigger part of me was scared to death to have him here. I know the kids need their dad, but I don't think it's healthy to have Ted in their life. I don't need him, and I don't want him. He just screwed up the next 7 years of his life, at least. And the rest of his life, actually, because he will not know his kids by the time he gets home. He will certainly not know me.
Shortly after all of this situation, she divorces him. Ted's gone from this amazing job in Monaco, earning really good money, living in paradise, to being charged with double murder, escaping prison, being rearrested, and now being served divorce papers.
And looking at extra time.
And remember when Heidi was in the limo heading to the hospital to see Ted, and then the driver turned around and took her to the police station and said?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Ted's lawyer, Michael, he brings on a lawsuit against Lily for that, for the abduction of Heidi. And right before the court appearance in New York, Heidi calls Michael, the lawyer, and says, you know what, I'm just going to drop absolutely everything.
And everything just seems like really sus, and you don't know why. And then Ted's lawyer here goes, "Could we just talk off the record?"
Off the record for a minute? Don't. I'm just talking to you now because allegedly, in cash.
Wow.
But I can't say that on the air.
Don't take your clothes off and then not fuck me. I'd rather they just got rid of that and I didn't know, because now I really want to know what he said.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, Ted, he suspects that she was paid off because Heidi was able to buy a house in New York with no loan, no mortgage, anything at all.
To the tune of about $360,000.
Yeah, that's right. So he's finding that very suspicious. So he suspects Lily paid her off or bought her a house. And to further back up those claims, we hear from Lady Campbell regarding all this.
I'm a lady, don't you know? I'm going to do that every time.
Lily was far too subtle to say, I'm bribing you. It was, you poor thing. My lawyer will give you a check for $250,000. Anything inconvenient was forgotten.
Okay, so now Ted, he's in French prison. He's facing trial for the prison escape as well, and he's received an additional 9 months on top of his original sentence.
An extra 9 months with all the muzzies.
Not a good time to be Ted.
No.
And after spending 2,865 days in prison, not that he's counting or anything, the judge from the original trial, he makes a statement saying that the whole trial was completely rigged and it was all prearranged.
Yeah.
So they're all obviously paid off by Monaco. Like it's a private billionaires club. They don't want all these rich people from around the world concerned about coming to Monaco with a safety. So they just want to blame this American, sweep it under the rug, and then, keep the tourism, keep everything how it is already. Even though the judge, he comes out and says it's all rigged, it doesn't change anything. So he still has to serve all of his sentence.
And they actually likened it to Alice in Wonderland, a movie, the scene where she's in the court and they're just giving her a sentence instantly.
Yeah, she asks, isn't there supposed to be a trial first?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No trial.
Yeah. So Monaco, it's actually run by Prince Albert, which I thought Prince Albert was a nickname for a cock ring.
I think I had something written down in regards to Prince Albert hanging out with a bunch of dickheads, and that being apt.
And I didn't know that Prince Albert, he was actually really good mates with Vladimir Putin. So
yeah, exactly. I did not know that. No.
Yeah. Did you have any jokes you want to put in about Putin here?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No,
right, cool.
I love Putin.
So,
Putin's my man. I love Trump and I love Putin.
Kim Jong, you're in there too, right?
Yeah.
So do you know that photo in Siberia of Putin when he was shirtless on the horse? Horses, a really famous one from a few years ago.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Prince Albert, he was actually on that trip with him. These guys are real chummies. You'd kind of think that if Russia or Putin wanted to do something within Monaco, they've got an easy in.
And I'm getting real Bob and Bee vibes coming from Prince Albert and Putin here as well after that trip. These pictures he's taken of him on the horse shirtless. Like, hello.
I need relief, Putin.
Yeah.
So then we find out that Lily, she's selling one of her houses to another Russian billionaire named Mikhail Prokopov. Mikhail.
Everyone's Mikhail.
For around $500 million for this house. And it's huge. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah, it is. And she sells it pretty quick after inherited too. It's like, I want to get rid of this place. It's worth $500 million. It's no good to me.
That's right. So she pops it on the market, and then this guy, Mikhail, he pops down 10% for the house. So it's around $53 million he puts down for a cash deposit. But the deal doesn't go through, and then Lily says, well, too bad. I'm keeping the cash. And then this dude goes, oh, no problem. It's fine. It's only $53 million.
Pocket change.
It's so fine. Don't drink vodka. So it seems like just maybe this was Lily's payoff from Russia if there was something going on there and for having her husband killed. And then this was a way for the payment to come through. Because who in their right mind, like, doesn't matter how rich you are, is going to say, no worries, about $53 million.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a good call. Yeah.
I'm smart.
You're smart.
So now we're going to go and we see Ted being released from prison.
When I was finally released, I was led to the heliport, and I was flown to Nice, and from there I flew back to JFK. Free at last, free at last. I am free. Yep.
So this is where the documentary is supposed to end, but then all of a sudden we hear audio of a phone call between Ted, who's now in New Mexico, and the filmmaker.
This is where the story was meant to end, but shortly after this interview, something interesting happened. Ted went missing for months.
There are over 100 police officers looking for me. I am not going to fucking jail for 1 minute for something I didn't do. Especially after what I went through in Monaco. I'm not fucking doing it again. I got fucking warrants out for my arrest right now. I don't know where to go. I can't trust anybody, Todd. I just can't. I'm telling you right now, I need a safe house, to be honest with you. Text me later on this afternoon, and I'll make sure my phone's off, and I'll touch base again, but I want to go dark now.
Ted's on the run in New Mexico, and his claim is being framed or used as a fall guy again. So after Monaco, Ted changed his name to try and get a clean start to John Green. So pretty fucking boring.
Yeah, John's a great name.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know why he's bothered to change his name anyway in the first place. I mean, like, he's still going to have that all on his record regardless. He's been to jail. He's done 10 years in prison.
That's true.
Just because you changed your name is not really going to change much for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I guess it's just for people on the internet and they see his name and they go, oh, hang on, isn't that guy I work with?
Yeah, that's true.
So we find out that Ted, well, now John, he's been charged with burglary, larceny, forgery, and fraud.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out some charges that were brought against somebody.
Trying to see what the charges are?
Yeah.
Okay.
John Green.
You have burglary, larceny, forgery, fraud.
Oh, boy.
Green is accused of forging his estranged wife's checks.
So he's all over the news again, and he's a fugitive on the run. And Ted, or John, he's super paranoid, and he feels that they are tracking him. Like, I don't know who they are. I don't know if it's the FBI or if it's Monaco. I don't know. But he's super, super paranoid. And he's hiding somewhere. The FBI don't even know where he is. But he's making almost weekly calls to the filmmaker Hodge, as he thinks he's the only person that he can trust.
He was calling weekly, and at times we were talking for hours.
If I mysteriously die in a car accident, you're the only person I've been able to talk to tell the whole story.
The more I listened, the more my objectivity became blurred.
Crazy how they try to twist shit around so that makes things look really bad.
Half the time, I wondered if he was telling me the truth, and half the time, it sounded like a fantasy.
So much for being innocent until proven guilty, right? You know I'm fucking innocent, and it's the same fucking story every fucking time. Who am I? I'm a murderer from Monte Carlo. You don't think there's a pattern here? Holy fuck. Shit.
Developing is John Green, or should we say Ted Marr, has been found and arrested.
So now Ted, he's back in prison, and we find out that he's also being charged with, criminal conspiracy in the first degree to commit murder. So while he's in prison, he conspired with another inmate to have his wife killed. Not Heidi, a new wife.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's got a new wife. Heidi's out of the picture, and now he's trying to get this poor woman murdered, and you got no idea why.
MTD Radio News. Police say John Green was serving time in prison when he allegedly conspired with and paid another inmate to kill his wife. The murder plot never came to fruition, but Green will go on trial Monday.
I mean, this is fucking blatant lies. I know what I've done, and I know what I haven't done. And I'll tell you right now, I don't give a flying fuck what anybody thinks right now.
So Ted, he's really adamant that he hates lies, and you can tell by looking at someone's eyes if they're telling the truth or not. And we even find out from the filmmaker that even he's starting to question Ted and everything that he says. So he does this real deep dive into Ted's military service as a Green Beret, and he finds out it's all bullshit.
Yeah, he's full of shit, man. I told you. Yeah, you're on the Lily Safra train. I'm on this Ted train, man. And I know I've seen the documentary, but I just didn't trust this guy from the get-go.
Yeah, I still think Lily's behind it. There's too many coincidences going on.
But definitely not the Russians.
No, definitely not the Russians. No.
Has this recent thing reinforced what you have been saying about Monaco?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know what Michael Griffith is thinking now.
This is Ted's life. He's always stepping in shit. This is like an ongoing drama with this guy. Like it never ends.
It seems that Ted can do bad things.
Hiring a hitman is crazy. Who does that?
So this guy, he was just full of shit the entire time. He's a serial liar. He's found guilty again and sentenced to another 9 years in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And actually, on a side note, during the credits, we find out that Lily, she dies in 2022 with a net worth of $1.3 billion. So she inherited $4.8 billion when Edmond died, and that was at the very, very end of 1999.
Yeah.
So she spent, I don't know, what's 4.8
You're doing the maths really
billion
quickly in your head? No,
Yeah.
it's 4.0, carry the 2.
Hang on, I'm just going to work it out.
I'm not editing this out.
So she spent around about $435,000 a day.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're working out. I'm thinking, where are you getting 435? I'm thinking, she spent like 3.5 million. Sorry, billion.
Yeah, billion.
Billion.
So she spent $435,000 every single day between Edmond dying and when she died.
Is that right? 22 years? Holy shit.
So
I'm double checking this math as soon as we're off. No, that's insanity.
It's crazy. So who do you think was responsible for the death?
Well, I've been on the Ted train the whole time. I don't believe it was murder, and I don't believe that's what his intentions were. They mentioned throughout the documentary that his motivation for doing what he did was to make himself look better than what he was and indispensable to Edmond. Like, he wanted Sonia's job. We've already established that. But I think he wanted more than that. As much as the Russian thing is interesting and Lily having a lot, like 3 billion reasons, just think Ted. And the other thing I wanted to ask you as well, and this is going back to what he did. If it was you're in this situation, are you stabbing yourself, then lighting the fire, then going out to the concierge? Or are you lighting the fire, stabbing yourself, then running out?
Yeah, definitely do fire, stab, run.
That's what I would have thought too, and that they show the scars and that they try and disprove that theory of him stabbing himself because he wouldn't have been able to reach in his right hand and he got stabbed on the left-hand side. It was like, well, no, they showed the photos of it and it looks like he could have easily have done it himself.
Definitely, yeah.
And they contradict themselves here and they say, because he was this Green Beret, he had knowledge to cut himself without hitting organs. But then they find out he wasn't a Green Beret. Like, he didn't know shit. Well, I just think he was full of shit from the start. I don't believe anything that came out of his mouth for the whole documentary. And Hodges says at the end, the producer, I think he's said these lies so much over the years that he started to believe it himself.
I think I agree with you on Ted, but I still think Lily's behind something there. The fact that the security shutters opened up in her bedroom only, she was able to escape. She doesn't know how she escaped the fire, but she was able to get out. And, Edmond and the nurse, they're the ones who perished. That's the only thing I don't like about these whodunit stories. There's not like a nice little bow at the end of it.
No, exactly. I feel a little bit jibbed by the end of it, but I still think Ted is the main man and they got the right guy in the end. And look, he only did 10 years for what they call murder. And I don't believe it. Well, like I said, I don't believe it was murder. I believed he was just doing it to get into good graces. And then he's thinking, oh, fuck, the cops and the fireys haven't gone in to save him. And now they're dead. He's like, oh, my God, I'm screwed.
Yeah. So do you think it was just the death was an accident?
Oh, pure accident. 100% pure accident. And if it was Lily Safra, then yes, there was motivations on her end to actually have him murdered. But for Ted, murder was not his motivation at all. I think it feels like we really should dive into Vivian, the other victim here. You mentioned at the start we don't hear anything about Vivian. I mean, the whole documentary is all based on Edmond. He's this billionaire. He's the character of the story, and he's the poor victim. But then you've got this Vivian Torrente, I think her name was. There's no information given, and I did some deep diving on the Google machine and tried to find out a little. Try to find out a little bit about her because I feel it's important. You know, we've got 2 victims here, not just one. So Vivian was born in the Philippines, and what they believe was around about 1947. She earned her nursing license in the US and was living in New Jersey around about the time she got the job with Edmond Safra, and she was living there with her family. She had a husband, Ireneo, something like that, a daughter, Genevieve, and son, Jason. So she had 2 kids. She started working for Edmond in the 90s, and that's pretty much all you really know about her. But interestingly enough, Vivian's children filed their own lawsuit. This has all got fucking lawsuits everywhere in this documentary, but they filed their own $100 million lawsuit against Edmond's estate due to some of the findings of her autopsy. And this is where it's even more bizarre, and I'm surprised they didn't mention it in the documentary. But in her autopsy, there was blood around her thyroid as well as bruising around her neck. So they believe there was a struggle that happened beforehand or in the panic room, which led to her death. That apparently some of Edmond's blood was on her clothing as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised they kept that out of the
exactly. So why leave that out? Maybe this just wasn't founded. But after a while, like the lawsuit was, they're not actually 100% sure, but the lawsuit was either dismissed or dropped by the family. So yeah, no closure for them.
Another payout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think this one had it all. We had arson, had murder, a suspicious suicide, prison escapes, a black widow wife, bribes, and payouts. I loved it. I thought it was really, really well done. It was really captivating. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It had twists and turns all over the place. Super well done, really well made. Really enjoyed it. So good job, Netflix.
Look, for me, I did enjoy it too, and I enjoyed the story. I found it hard to follow at times, particularly at the start. It was very fast-paced moving documentary. You need to be watching it, and you can't be on your phone. You can't be distracted to take it all in. That's the only thing I found with it. You don't get to spend a lot of time getting to know the characters individually. It's always jumping from one character to the next. Fast moving. Yeah. It's fast moving. Right, yeah. And so I would have loved to have seen more of Lady Colin. They had an hour with her. You don't get to see much of her. And Michael Griffiths, the lawyer, I really enjoyed his short period of the documentary. Hated Ted. You don't get to see much of, obviously, Lily Safra. They don't actually have much, audio or even footage of her, which is a shame. But overall, no, it was a good job, and they got the main players that were involved. It was enjoyable. I just thought it could have been a bit slower.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover. A lot of twists and turns in there as well. But as I said, we really enjoyed it. And it was definitely a lot lighter, even though it still had murder and whatnot. And there was definitely a lot lighter than our previous case. So I enjoyed that. So,
yeah, and exactly. Our last case, there was no murder. So we really needed some of that murder here. But,
what do we have lined up for next week, speaking of murder?
I'm excited about this one. This is one of my favorite all-time documentaries. It came out in 2017, I believe. It's called The Long Shot or Long Shot. And we'll play the preview for you now.
Ground ball up the middle. I love baseball. I can't say that enough. Every time I'm there, I soak it all in. But I wasn't supposed to be at that game. It was like any other day, but as soon as I opened the door, I was completely surrounded, like SWAT style. My daughter, she looks up and she says, "Dad."
I told him, I'm gonna get you out of here. I asked him, do you remember where you were?
I was at the Dodgers game.
I gotta find the holy grail of Juan's defense. I need to place my client at Dodger Stadium on that night. Juan remembered they may have been filming something there that day.
That episode was that I picked up a hooker in the carpool lane and took her to Dodger Stadium.
We were in for an enormous fight. The prosecutor they assigned to the case had never lost. She liked to pick off people with the death penalty. I looked at tape after tape.
We shot in 2 sections in Dodger Stadium.
There's 56,000 people at this game. How could he possibly be on camera?
I wasn't supposed to be at that game, and that would play in my head over and over.
I looked for eyewitnesses in the tickets. I could not afford to miss anything.
The kids wanted to know when I was coming home, and I didn't have an answer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into the one. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend watching it after our podcast. Let us tell the story first, and then you can go and watch the documentary after. But this is another one on Netflix, and that's pretty much all we've got for today. Make sure if you are enjoying the episodes and you like us, get on Spotify, rate, review. It helps us out a lot. We really appreciate you listening. Until next time, Chris, try not to murder anyone.
You too, mate. Love you.
Huh?
Don't worry about it.